Hello and welcome to Firstpost Spotlight, where we bring you the stories that matter from across the world, shining a light on the biggest issues and controversies. I'm Kerry Johnston, live from the Firstpost studios. But first, a look at the day's headlines. India asks its citizens to leave Iran amid fears of a possible US strike there. Around 10,000 Indian nationals are estimated to be inside Iran. Bangladesh's President Mohammed Shahabuddin accuses former interim leader Yunus of conspiring to remove him from office in an unconstitutional manner. A powerful winter storm sweeps the US East Coast. Around 5,000 flights are cancelled, including routes in and out of New York and Boston. South Korea and Brazil elevate bilateral relations to a strategic partnership as Brazilian President Lula da Silva visits Seoul. The two countries enhance cooperation in areas including critical minerals, defense and climate change. Bangladesh's President Mohammed Shahabuddin accuses former interim leader Yunus of conspiring to remove him from office in an unconstitutional manner. And the international. We begin with the latest from the Indian subcontinent. Pakistan's military claims to have killed at least 70 militants in cross-border strikes across Afghanistan on February the 22nd. Islamabad claims it targeted militant hideouts linked to the Pakistani Taliban and affiliates of the Islamic State group. Pakistan claims dozens of militants were killed. Afghanistan's Taliban government says civilians, including women and children, have died in the strikes. Kabul has warned that it will retaliate in due course.
The Ministry of National Defense considers the protection of the country's airspace and the security of its people to be its religious and national responsibility, and warns that at an appropriate time it will deliver an appropriate and calculated response, inshallah. Attacks on civilian targets and religious centers are clear evidence of the Pakistani Army's intelligence and security failures, and such repeated aggressions will never conceal their internal failures.
Well, these strikes mark a sharp escalation in tension between the two neighbours who share a porous 2,400-kilometre border, a frontier the Taliban government in Kabul does not formally recognise, arguing it's a colonial-era line that split Pashtun tribes across both sides. Islamabad claims it acted after a string of suicide bombings inside Pakistan, including a deadly mosque attack in the capital that killed more than 30 people. Pakistan accuses militants of operating from Afghan territory. The Taliban government denies this. It says it does not allow Afghan soil to be used against any country. Meanwhile, India has issued a strong condemnation of Pakistan's airstrikes on Afghan soil.
India strongly condemns Pakistan's airstrikes on Afghan territory that have resulted in civilian casualties, including women and children, during the holy month of Ramzan. It is another attempt by Pakistan to externalize its internal failures. India reiterates its support for Afghanistan's sovereignty, territorial integrity, and independence.
And there's a wider context. For years, India has called out Pakistan for harbouring terror groups that launch cross-border attacks. Now, Pakistan is accusing Afghanistan of doing exactly that, providing safe haven to militants targeting its territory. Well, the relationship between Islamabad and Kabul has deteriorated steadily over the past year. Border clashes have killed scores of people. Trade routes have been disrupted. Mediation efforts by countries like Qatar, Turkey and Saudi Arabia have failed to produce lasting stability. And yet it wasn't always like this. In August 2021, when the Taliban stormed back to power after the exit of US forces, Pakistan appeared pleased. In fact, one image defined that moment. At the lobby of a luxury hotel in Kabul, Pakistan's then intelligence chief, Lieutenant General Faiz Hamid, was photographed calmly sipping coffee as Kabul fell to the Taliban. Many in Pakistan called it victory coffee. Well, at the time, Islamabad was seen as one of the first to engage the new Taliban leadership. But more than 4 years later, that apparent comfort has turned into airstrikes, accusations and threats of retaliation. Well, the question now is whether this escalation remains limited or whether the fragile Pakistan-Afghanistan equation spirals into something far more dangerous. Well, for more on this, we have with us Tilak Devasher. He's an author and a former member of India's National Security Advisory Board, joining us live now from New Delhi. Welcome to the program. So let me ask you first, if I may, what do you believe is the core issue between this latest flare-up?
You know, the latest, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. The latest flare-up is just the immediate, what you see on the surface. There are structural issues between Pakistan and Afghanistan, and that are not going to be resolved in a hurry. And unless and until that issue is resolved, you will continue to have issues like the one that we've seen happen yesterday, or where Pakistan resorted to aerial bombing. Pakistan is, in effect, externalizing its problems, which it can't handle, both in Balochistan and in the province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Despite such a strong military presence and a large army, it is not able to deal with the issue of terrorism of the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. And therefore, it finds it convenient to blame Afghanistan for its problems. Now, Afghanistan is not going to interfere. Afghanistan has made it very clear that these are Pakistani nationals staying in Pakistan. So the Pakistan army has to tackle the problem within Pakistan rather than externalizing it to Afghanistan.
Right, so given what you say then, let me just jump in there if I may. Given what you say, what would actually need to happen to stabilize the situation?
I think Pakistan needs to genuinely talk to the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, the people who are Pakistani nationals. See what their grouse is, what was it that they want, and try and tackle it at the political level. You see, Turkey as well as Qatar have tried to mediate between the Tehreek-e-Taliban, between the Afghan Taliban and Pakistan, but no agreement could be reached. And one reason for that was Taliban told Pakistan that just as you are asking us not to provide routes and sanctuary to the TTP, we are asking you to ensure that your territory is not used for attacks on Afghanistan. The reference was to the US drones. Pakistan clearly refused. They said that we have an agreement with the United States and we cannot stop that. Our airspace is being used. The Taliban said, then what are we talking about? So Pakistan needs to get its act together. It can't ask the Taliban to do something which itself it is not willing to do for the Taliban, that is, not allow its territory to be used against the Taliban. That's the simple, what is the immediate cause. But the most structural cause, which I mentioned earlier, was of the Durand Line, the line drawn by the British, which the Afghans have not accepted since 1949. They don't think that it is an international border. And unless and until Pakistan and Afghanistan resolve that core issue, such problems are going to continue between Afghanistan and Pakistan.
So how do you see this playing out then in the coming days and months?
You see, the Afghans will retaliate. They may not retaliate tomorrow, they may not retaliate in a month, they may not even retaliate in a year's time. But the Pashtuns have long memories. There's a saying that a Pashtun took revenge after 100 years and said he took it too soon. So the Afghans will play a waiting game. They know they are weak. They don't have any air defense systems, they have no air force. So they will wait till a time when they are stronger and they are in a position to hit back at Pakistan. And hit back at Pakistan, they will certainly do.
We'll leave it there. Tilak Devasher, thank you very much indeed for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
A dream vacation turned into a nightmare for an Indian content creator who claims he was detained and treated like a criminal during his trip to South Korea and China. The 38-hour ordeal of the YouTuber is now going viral. Sachin Awasthi, an Indian influencer, claimed he and his wife were denied entry to South Korea's Jeju island without any proper explanation. In his YouTube video, he recounted the experience, alleging they were held overnight in a detention facility and later deported. The influencer said he and his partner were kept in a jail-like detention center with no access to sunlight and served with what he described as jail food.
बट वहाँ अंदर 2 हॉल्स थे, एक मेन का और एक वुमेन का, और बीच में एक स्मोकिंग रूम, और कुछ भी नहीं। हमने उसमें अंदर जाने से मना कर दिया। हमने बोला कि आप किसी को बुलाओ, इमिग्रेशन ऑफिसर या किसी को भी, मैं पैसे दूंगा, मुझे अभी के अभी वापस जाने दो, या मुझे कोई बेटर कंडीशंस के रूम प्रोवाइड करो। बट उन्होंने हम लोगों की एक बात भी नहीं सुनी और हमें अंदर वो सेक्शन में लॉक कर दिया और एक बहुत मीठा सा जूस और एक बहुत बेकार सा मीठा मीठा बन देकर चले गए।
The YouTuber claimed that authorities offered no clarity on what would happen next. The uncertainty left him and his wife confused and anxious. He later said officials denied their entry, citing unclear travel intentions. Well, that explanation, he claimed, came only after the decision had already been made. According to Sachin, the authorities then pressured them to buy an extremely expensive return ticket.
हमने वहीं बैठे अगले दिन सेम जूनिया एयरलाइन की टिकट करवाई, जो कि नॉर्मल से एटलीस्ट 10 गुना ज़्यादा प्राइस की थी, क्योंकि हमें वहाँ एंग्जाइटी हो रही थी।
But it didn't end there. Their flight back involved a transit stop in China, where they say they faced an ongoing ordeal.
और यहाँ जो 8 घंटे मैंने बिताए, वो वहाँ के 24 घंटे से भी ज़्यादा बुरे थे। उन्होंने बोला आप फ़ोन नहीं यूज़ कर सकते हो, कुछ खाना पीना भी नहीं है जो भी आपके पास है, पानी भी नहीं पीना है। हमें वॉशरूम जाना था तो एक पुलिस वाला हमारे साथ जा रहा था और बोल रहा था कि दरवाज़ा खोल के वॉशरूम यूज़ करो, इवन विद माई वाइफ ऑल्सो।
Well, the content creator says the idea behind sharing his story was not for sympathy or drama, but highlighting that immigration officials do not have the right to treat people like criminals. He noted that travel often looked glamorous online, but sometimes things can take a drastic turn within hours. Moments like these, he added, test people emotionally in unexpected ways. Meanwhile, the authorities from South Korea and China have not responded to his allegations. Amid the entire fiasco, what's drawing eyes is Jeju Island's special status, something travellers need to know before visiting. It's not just another South Korean destination, but is officially a special self-governing province with distinct administrative powers. The island also operates under a separate visa-free entry program, different from mainland South Korea. Passport holders from free visa nations can enter only if they arrive directly from a foreign country. Those transiting through mainland South Korean airports require a valid visa. But visa-free access does not guarantee admission. Immigration officers retain full authority to deny entry if they are not satisfied with the traveller's purpose, documents, or risk profile. Well, from denied entry to detention claims, the 38-hour saga may have ended, but this travel row has sparked a larger debate on immigration power and passenger rights. A major political debate is unfolding in Germany as Chancellor Friedrich Merz pushes for a tough new rule to curb rising workplace absenteeism. His party, the Christian Democratic Union, or CDU, has voted unanimously to end the practice that allows workers to call in sick without physically visiting a doctor. Now, since the COVID-19 pandemic, German employees have been able to take up to 5 days of paid sick leave with just a phone call to a doctor's surgery. But now, under the new proposal, workers would be required to physically visit a medical practitioner before they can be certified unfit to work. The government says this step is necessary to control soaring sick leave and protect the economy. According to a report, Germans take an average of 15 sick days annually, among Europe's highest rates. In contrast, British employees took an average of just under 4.5 days off in 2024. Additionally, Germany runs one of the world's most generous welfare systems. Before insurers take over, employers must pay for up to 41 days of sick leave. Well, research suggests that sickness costs German employers a staggering $88.6 billion annually. Employers are even turning to private detectives to investigate suspected abuse of sick leave, with agencies reporting a sharp rise in such cases. In fact, leading business figures have issued warnings. The head of Allianz said Germany risks once again becoming the sick man of Europe. The chairman of Mercedes-Benz also issued a warning.
When absenteeism in Germany is sometimes twice as high as in other European countries, this has consequences for business.
According to Chancellor Merz, this degree of absenteeism can no longer be maintained, especially in light of the economy's poor growth. Well, last year, Germany's GDP increased by only 0.3%, and economic activity has remained largely flat since 2017. Reports say that easy sick note access makes it easier for workers to stay at home, even when they are still fit for work. Nonetheless, the proposal has sparked a heated debate within the government of Germany's fragile coalition. Critics argue that phone-based sick notes help prevent infections and reduce pressure on doctors' clinics. Trade unions have also pushed back strongly, warning that the move treats honest workers as potential cheats, creating a climate of distrust. Additionally, medical professionals are divided on the issue. Some say the current system is being misused. Others argue the concerns are exaggerated, and most employees act responsibly. Meanwhile, experts say the surge in sick leave is shaped by multiple factors, including rising mental health issues, an aging workforce, labour shortages, and a shift in public attitudes after the pandemic. Well, as the debate intensifies, Germany faces a crucial question: how to balance worker well-being while preventing the exploitation of the system in the midst of the country's economic realities. Well, our final story today is from the 79th BAFTA Film Awards. While it's the biggest night for cinema in the UK, Indians too got an opportunity to celebrate. The historic night celebrated a language that is rarely heard on such a grand stage, Manipuri. The movie Boom is a reflective, deeply human story from India's northeastern region. It won the Best Children's and Family Film Award and has now become the first Indian film to win in this category. Well, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended his good wishes to everyone associated with the film on X. He also wrote that this is a moment of joy, especially for Manipur. Directed by Lakshmi Priya Devi, Boom was the only Indian nominee this year. It competed with global heavyweights like Arco, Lilo and Stitch, and Zootopia 2. Well, the team members of the film were at the ceremony.
For me, I'm having an out-of-body experience. It still feels very unreal. I think I will probably realize it once the event is over, like what it meant to be here and what it's going to mean for me for years to come.
The film follows a young schoolboy's search for his missing father amid the conflict in Manipur. It was premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival as well. Indians got another reason to cheer as actor Alia Bhatt made her debut at the ceremony. She presented the award for Best Non-English Language Film. The actor walked onto the stage in a shimmering silver gown and began speaking with a simple and powerful greeting, Namaste. The ceremony took a somber turn, though, when global film personalities who passed away over the last year were remembered. Indian cinema star Dharmendra was mentioned during the memorial segment. He was featured alongside actors like Catherine O'Hara, Diane Keaton and Robert Duvall. While the main spotlight was on cinema, there was also a splash of royalty, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, arrived alongside Prince William. The princess, re-wore a raspberry and rose-pink Gucci gown first seen in 2019. This was also the royal couple's first joint appearance after Andrew was arrested over his links with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. While Boom made history for India, the night belonged to, in sheer numbers, to one battle after another. The film took home 6 awards, including Best Film and Best Director. Ryan Coogler also made history at the ceremony. His film Sinners earned 3 wins: an original screenplay, supporting actress and original score. Elsewhere, Sentimental Value became the first Norwegian film to win a BAFTA in the Best Film Not in the English Language category. And British entry My Father's Shadow secured Outstanding British Debut. Well, amidst the glitzy clothes, standing ovations and industry titans collecting trophies, the 79th BAFTAs will always be remembered for something less showy: a Manipuri language film featuring a child searching for his father. on the region of India, now headlining global cinema's most elegant stage. Boom did not just win a trophy, it made cinematic history. That's all we have time for on the show today, but we'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
From breaking news to the day's biggest controversies, shedding light on the world's top headlines, detailed analysis on the stories that matter the most to you. Catch it all on Spotlight at 6 p.m. India time and 12:30 GMT, only on Firstpost.